efficiency needed to justify its cost. Further, this waste-to-energy path eliminates the opportunity for any other method, geothermal, solar, wind, to be pursued. There is simply not enough room for multiple procedures in this market. Since island-wide transfer will be required in order to ensure the success of either energy or a composted end product, West Hawaii is where the facility needs to be located. Trucking waste east to west or west to east amounts to the same thing. The technology for composting has no patent or proprietary issues or expensive equipment. It is a natural process and therefore a whole lot less costly, and a number of models for doing so exist around the world. Historically, federal funding has been dramatically more available for agriculture than energy, and we are in fact polluting our nearshore waters, and the only way to stop the process is by adding organics to the soil we use in our coastal development, our lifeblood. Organic-based soil sells for upwards of $80 a cubic yard, higher than anywhere else on the planet, and into a perpetually unsatisfied market. This issue could conceivably become a legal matter wherein the County of Hawaii will need to explain to the EPA or perhaps concerned citizens why it has insisted on ignoring the obvious degradation of our ocean environment while now actively pursuing even more air pollution instead. Ladies and gentlemen, with my last minute here, I cannot understand why, after 35 years, I can't get it across to this body, to administration, to the community in general, why it's possible to take the entire waste stream with the technology, the natural technology that's available to us today and has been for centuries, if not forever, that we can actually decompose everything by the use of microorganisms that are there available to us for no cost. I can't understand why we're going and looking at other ways of handling solid waste. So please give this some careful consideration. Thank you.
Margaret Chung.
Can you hear me? Good morning. My name is Margaret Chang, and I would like to thank the Council for this opportunity to testify in this important issue. I've listed in the handout 3 organizations I am representing, one from Kona and 2 in North Kahala, all of which are very invested in this issue and all of which have deep technical experience in this area. The upshot of my testimony is that waste to energy is a good idea, and we strongly advocate that the great care be invested into the upstream segregation of materials to ensure that we do not hurt the Big Island of Hawaii as we pursue this important technology. In addition, upstream segregation reduces and optimizes the input loads into a waste-to-energy system, thereby reducing the cost of constructing such a system. The segregation we advocate is based on the energy value of various components of waste, as well as their impact on the ocean, land, and groundwater. Proper handling of each category is critical for specific reasons. Batteries and other toxic wastes must be removed, including fluorescent light bulbs with the mercury they contain. The heavy metals can never be removed from once they enter the landfill or waste-to-energy process, and they concentrate themselves in some of our most prized resources, such as the fish we eat and sell. Glass is a hard and inert substance which can be used in various construction processes as aggregate and has been used in this capacity in Hawaii for many years. Metals are already in their highest value state, having been created at great cost. To use the relatively small amount of energy that can be gained from their oxidization is both wasteful and cost ineffective, since these can be reused in their metallic form or profitably exported to be recast or reworked. Plastics can be recycled. However, in the absence of volume and industry to do this locally, their energy content is effectively that of petroleum. Therefore, plastics are the best energy source for the energy-to-waste process. Green and organic waste is by far the most valuable resource we have to build our soils locally instead of importing expensive fertilizers. Excellent soil is not only critical to food production, but also to capture and retain water, which not only recharges our water table, but also prevents the runoff, which devastates our land and poisons our ocean. I'm about to finish. It is for the above reasons stated in greater detail in the handout that we strongly recommend that the facilities be established to segregate our waste as described, and that education be encouraged to convey the importance of separating poisons from fuels from life-giving compostable green and organic waste. Thank you, and I'll be available for questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, so next, Kohala, your first two testifiers.
Our first testifier this morning is David Cottis, representing Mother Nature, Ka'aina, and future generations, speaking in support of Resolution 452-14.
Aloha. Incineration gradually would deplete our soils of organic matter, rendering our local food less nutritious and more susceptible to disease. I think a much better use of discarded food and green bio-waste is to compost it into organic fertilizer. The natural cycle of Mother Nature is for animals to eat plants, then excrete their waste products back into the soil, or even more microbial animals and fungi eat it again and excrete the final product back into the soil as fine quality organic fertilizer, upon which plants again thrive. Because plants grow by incorporating into themselves not only soil, but also water, air, and sunshine, their harvesting and composting and return to the soil actually increase the original soil content by adding transformed components from water, air, and sunshine, as well as from the original earth. This is the fundamental cycle of Mother Nature, which mankind has been ruining at an accelerating pace through his short-sighted technology. Even the billionaire owners and managers of multinational companies selling this destructive technology come here to the Big Island on vacation to get away from their own destruction and to get back into Mother Nature, into a Garden of Eden. Our physical bodies are produced and maintained by Mother Nature. Therefore, to the extent that we destroy her, we destroy ourselves. As far as energy is concerned, there are much more effective and clean ways to generate it. Solar, wind, 0 point, and especially the latter has been suppressed by the vested big oil interests, which directly and indirectly control our major politicians. Consequently, our children and future generations of residents here on the Big Island would be much better served and would thank your intelligence and foresight if you knowledgeably plan and implement wholesome composting facilities for our green bio-waste, rather than try to burn everything up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your next testifier.
Our next testifier is Deborah Winter, representing herself, making comment on Resolution 452-14.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Winter, and I am on the board of Sustainable Kohala, which is a grassroots network of local citizens promoting community resilience and sustainability in North Kohala. I am, however, speaking as an individual rather than for the group because we didn't have time to get this discussed by the board. I am disturbed about the impending bidding process because it's going to lead to burning our solid waste. And as most of us know, the majority of our solid waste is green material that would be best recycled into garden mulch and compost for the next cycle of growth. Burning our solid waste is an expensive and wasteful practice. Even the United States Environmental Protection Agency admits that, quote, these facilities may be an impediment to further waste reduction, reuse, and recycling, given that economic viability is based on a given supply of waste, unquote. Losing our green waste to an incinerator will significantly hamper our future food security, I believe, and it will retard our progress to sustainability by failing to close the circle between waste and future food supply. So before we decide on a contractor, let's make sure we have our green waste and other recyclables sufficiently streamed off from other waste, and that we do this on an island-wide basis. I can tell you that we have a lot of work to do at our transfer stations, and I know other transfer stations on the island, to ensure that we aren't dumping highly valuable materials into an incinerator. Thank you.
Kau, you're one testifier.
Hi, good morning. My name is John Roberts. I'm also here on behalf of Mr. Antonio Gropillo, president of Plant-Made Hawaii LLC. I also represent Kahu o Kahiko Incorporated, nonprofit organization dealing with traditions and practices of Hawaiian culture. Both of our organizations in Kahu have partnered together to do a work project. We've been able to develop a method by composting using old traditional practices and new practices with new technologies to produce nutrients for the plants to have better yield in the production. And we have already proven that this can be done. Our project has utilized the green waste from the Kona dump site, along with organic waste from fishermen and ranchers, and we're able to turn it into fertilizer within 30 days. And we can even get rid of metal with our process. It also, tons of green waste and organic waste can be utilized to be replenishing and revitalizing, to restore the land that we live in, okay, and to be self-sustainable. We are not against alternative energy, but it is our hope that County Council and the committee support 452 to include the farmers and the people of this island and stay on the path of self-sustainability for the good of all. Mahalo, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. Why don't we go to Hilo now?
Let's see.
Hilo, your first two testifiers.
Okay,
Hello.
our first testifier is Sandra Bonk in support of 452.
Hello, thank you for actually doing the job that you're doing. I see it's really complicated, and I did turn in testimony via email, and in hard copy form, I'd just like to apologize for omitting Ms. Willie and Ms. Poindexter. I'm not used to doing this, and I didn't see the complete list. I'm not going to read my testimony, but I just want to say that I represent myself, and I am a teacher with the Department of Education. I interface with a lot of students, and I believe that our students are trusting us to do the right thing with the environment. And just in talking to them, which I included in my letter to you, they are amazed that we would burn all of our rubbish rather than go with alternatives of composting, recycling, reuse, and even reducing the kinds of things we bring on this island that we really wouldn't have to, like styrofoam. there are so many other ways to package our lunches from lunch shops, and I'm just seeing that our population really needs to be educated on how to separate their trash. So I'm hoping that we're going to find an entity or entities that are willing, and I congratulate them for being willing to deal with such a horrendous thing, such as all this mixed up waste. But I don't want us to mass burn it. I fear the pollutants to the environment, the water, the air, and the ash is, from what I have investigated, is such a toxic thing that goes back into our landfill and can go into our groundwater. So I would be working in the plume from this incinerator, and I really encourage you to open this process back up to a more forward-thinking way of handling our rubbish. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I really hope that you make a decision for an environmentally conscious future for our island. And least of all, what I want us to be importing waste from other islands in the Pacific, other countries, because we need to feed a mass burning incinerator. So please, I do support this resolution. I think it's forward thinking, it's wise, and I would thank Ms. Willie for introducing it and for the council for listening to us. There's a lot of really, I'm impressed with the people testifying, and I hope that you'll listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next testifier?
Okay, our next testifier is Linda Damas in support of 452.
Aloha, honorable council members. My name is Linda Damas Kelly, and I'm a 25-year resident of Hilo. I'm also worked for the County of Hawaii in the Department of Environmental Management from 2005 to 2000 through 2007. In that capacity, I had an opportunity to attend a meeting, and I'd like to reiterate some things that I wrote to the mayor and council members at that time regarding the waste to energy initiative. On Wednesday, April 4th, 2007, I attended R.W. Beck's Opala to Electricity Waste to Energy presentation to the Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce. In their glossy flyer, they asked the question, is WTE, or waste to energy, a good idea for Hawaii County? After listening to their presentation, reading their literature, doing research on the internet, reading articles, and discussing this with other residents, the answer to this question should be no. Waste to energy is not a good idea for Hawaii County. Basically, it scared me when they said, quote, no new operations have been built since 1995, end quote. So how can they claim that that system would work here? How can they claim that, quote, waste-to-energy facilities help reduce greenhouse gases put into the atmosphere, end of quote. Help reduce by how much? They were very slippery in trying to answer in responding to this question. Actually, they glossed over it a whole lot. As well, how much energy would be produced. Again, very little was said at that meeting about how much energy could be produced. The other concern about the incinerator is the toxic ash residue. For, as I understood it at the time, for every ton that you burn, 1/3 of that ton becomes toxic ash, which would have to be shipped to West Hawaii landfill because we don't have a lined landfill here in Hilo. So I see other alternatives. And that is a zero waste and solid management approach. The cash, the initial cash outlay for an incinerator is in the millions of dollars. At that time, it was 40+ million, and many more millions of dollars after that we would have to be paying just to maintain one infrastructure. With a solid waste management and zero waste approach, it's a cost per ton basis, but nowhere near that millions and millions of dollars every year. and we would be recovering 70% of our materials and putting them back into circulation. So the output from a zero waste approach would be green waste for much needed soil, a sustainable system, jobs for recycling companies, and many other things, money circulating throughout the communities.
Your time's up.
Oh, okay. I strongly support a zero waste to energy.
Forum represents herself. Hi, everybody. So I am actually a school garden teacher as well, and I'm also a compost educator. And I've also been working with the Zero Waste School Initiative for the last couple of years.
Can you just stop and state your name, just for the record?
Sam Robinson.
Okay, thank you.
And I feel like if we have an incinerator, the whole point of teaching zero waste and working with the Zero Waste School Initiative will be completely backwards. What have we been teaching these students and these children that are our future for the last few years if all we're going to do is burn our waste and not create compost, which is one of the most important things for any island community or any agriculture community as well. I am in support of 452, and that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sam. Whoops, turned it off. Pahoa?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have Mr. Jeffrey Rao in support of Resolution 452.
Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Jeff Rauch from Beach Road Farm in Pahoa. I'm here in support of Resolution 452, and my testimony is based on the assumption that a large incinerator would burn the county's shredded green waste and most food waste. I am one of the many small tuna farmers who depend on green waste or mulch for organic matter due to a lack of soil in most of our district. I would like to emphasize this mulch is critical and there are no similar alternatives available. In general, it is organic matter in adequate amounts that is often missing from farm and garden land. To be sure, mulch by itself is not a stable carbon, and depending on temperature and moisture, it will gas off its carbon dioxide into the atmosphere relatively fast. The solution to this reality is not to burn the mulch, but to combine it with island food waste and produce stable compost, thereby eliminating two contributors of excessive volume in the landfill. Compost, especially in its stable humus portion, is key to productive, nutrient-holding island soils. And quality soils are the key to quality food and healthy people. Basically, burning carbon that can be returned to our farms as either mulch or compost is a crazy idea, unless we have already given up on local food self-sufficiency. Zero waste is the future. Let's give it a try. Mahalo and aloha.
Thank you very much. Your next testifier?
Our next testifier is Mr. John Olson in support of Resolution 452.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. John Olson here. Starting in the early 90s, I served on 3 iterations of the County Solid Waste Advisory Committee. Beyond that, I was on the CAC, the Community Advisory Committee for the design of the recycling center in Cal. This is an issue that I followed here for quite some time. I was brought into it mainly because of the negative impacts that the county's handling of solid waste had in Puna. Over that period of time, what has been considered waste, rubbish, something undesirable, has broadly turned itself into commodity after commodity. I think the idea that the county thinks that it is going to have people who are going to be willing to deliver the commodity, in this case, green waste, up for free is an illusion. Going forward, that isn't going to happen. You just had a farmer here testify to the fact But that is a commodity, a valuable commodity to him. And at some point in the future, people are going to be paying people to bring their green waste to them and not simply dumping it somewhere to be incinerated. This happened with cars. They used to be littered with abandoned vehicles. Now people are begging to tow them away and giving you hundreds of dollars for the privilege. Batteries, tires, white goods, all of those things that used to be just rubbish, just an eyesore. They are being purchased. Plastics, you're not going to see plastics in the waste stream. They're worth too much. They're going to be reusing all of those things. Even on the micro scale, just go and look at what the recycling centers are collecting now and paying for. I think it would be very unwise to continue to view the waste stream as waste. It's a commodity. Incinerator isn't going to fly. It's going to be sitting there dead. The cost of energy is declining. You've just heard someone who isn't on the grid. I'm not on the grid. The two people that are going to testify behind me, they're not connected to the utility. They cost too much. I can't afford them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Christine, and I believe you're the last testifier here. And, yeah, okay.
Aloha, my name is Christine Kubat. I'm testifying on behalf of Recycle Hawaii.
And can you speak louder so everyone can hear you, Christine, please?
Yes. How's that?
Almost.
As the state's longest standing and the county's most active recycling organization, Recycle Hawaii has a special obligation to protect the public interest in all matters related to the generation and management of waste. On behalf of the citizens who will be impacted by the outcome of Marikinoi's waste reduction facility solicitation for decades to come, we applaud Councilor Willie for her willingness to bring forth this resolution, and we encourage all councilors to vote in support of it. A requirement for a single proposer with 3 years' experience handling 95,000 tons of municipal solid waste is a solicitation for a massive waste-to-energy facility. We agree with claims made by Bobby Jean Lighthead Todd and Mayor Kanoi that the language of the RFP was broad. But there is far more to a government solicitation than language. The requirements, the actual requirements, were prohibitive. First, we believe basing the RFP on the 95,000 plus tonnage was done to attract waste-to-energy proposals. East Hawaii doesn't generate that level of waste, and we believe that major trends in the packaging, manufacturing, and farming industries, which all support decreased levels of waste generation and increased levels of resource reclamation, indicate that we never will. DEM is fully aware that East Hawaii's downstream discards contain roughly 30% compostable materials, 50% recyclables, 10% reclaimable items, and 10% materials of no value. An RFP that would have allowed for a resource-based approach to waste reduction would have allowed for a collaboration between vendors, each with at least 3 years' experience in recycling or reclaiming the volume of discards related to their area of expertise. This means a vendor experienced at 30,000 tons of compostables per year could have collaborated with a vendor experienced in handling 50,000 tons of recyclables per year and a vendor experienced in handling 12,000 tons of reusable items per year to reduce waste in a manner that would have maximized benefits to the environment and the local economy. This was not possible under the current RFP. You had to be a single proposer with 3 years' experience handling 95,000 tons of municipal solid waste. We need to start over. If we want a resource-based approach, this RFP does not do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. Why don't we go to, let me just check, is Pahoa, that was your only testifier? We can go to Kohala.
We've got two more here, Pahala. Just a second, please.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead with my next two in Kohala, and then I'm going to do Ko. Thank you. Kohala?
Yes, Chair. Our next testifier is John Winter, representing himself, making comment on Resolution 452-14.
Aloha, Chair Willie and committee members. My name is John Winter. I serve as chair of the North Kohala Community Development Plan Action Committee, and I'm also on the board of Sustainable Kohala, but I am speaking as an individual today. I wrote up a bit of a blurb, but we're in a kind of a rush, and I just want to say that I agree with everything that's been said so far today. I particularly believe that waste to energy may be a very good idea for some industrialized areas, but there's an economy of scale for this kind of a project that I don't believe will work here at all on the Big Island of Hawaii. It's likely to consume other materials that are best directed elsewhere. We've been working very hard recently in North Kohala to recycle back a lot of the green waste. This is a big agricultural area, and we would not like to lose that green waste, which should best be directed toward mulch and compost, into a waste to energy facility, even though producing energy is otherwise a great idea. I think we need to back up and get a much more diversified and focused management program for our wastes of different types, figure out what's best treated in which way, and reduce a lot of our inputs, and get a much more complete system working here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Winters. Your next testifier?
Yes, our next testifier is Dr. Jana Boggs, representing herself and Beyond Organic Consulting, Inc., speaking in support of Resolution 452-14. And she's requesting that I hold up a sign that has some information on it, so I'll do my best to make it visual.
Aloha, this is Jana Boggs, and I work with farmers and gardeners here on the Big Island. And I wanted to give an overview of what's going on with our soil and how we can best grow our crops here. So some people are visual learners in addition to audible learners, so I thought I'd show you this little sign I made up.
Yeah.
So starting at the top, we have good soil, and so we're going to plant a crop in that soil, and we're going to harvest that crop. And when we harvest that crop, we're going to lose some nutrients. So most farmers are going to be putting in some source of NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Now, if we use like a chemical form instead of using the form that's going to come in the form of compost, we're going to be impacting our, you can't do it. We're going to be impacting our soil organic matter. I guess that's not going to show up either. I'm too far away.
Yeah, Jana, I'm going to stop you. Let me stop you, and we'll give you an extra, seconds. Just, we can't see that. If you would please just forward it to, or give it to Dave, and we will pass it out. But we can't see what you're presenting there visually.
Sorry.
So go ahead.
Okay. So, anyway, basically when we use a chemical input like NPK fertilizers, we're going to lose some of our soil organic matter. And what's going to happen is that some of that carbon out of that organic matter is going to be lost as carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, which is contributing to global warming. We're also going to lose beneficial microorganisms because they need that organic matter as their food source. When we lose those beneficial microorganisms, we upset the soil balance, and we have increasing problems with weeds. Then typically people are going to be using more herbicides. Herbicides have a whole host of problems associated with that, including causing micronutrient deficiencies in the plants, as well as just toxicity in general for the microbes and also for ourselves in the final product. And then, so we have an increase in crop diseases and pests because we're having micronutrient deficiencies in our plants. So then, typically, what's going to be introduced are pesticides to try to overcome the pests that are generated. And we also have a loss of soil structure because of the loss of these good quality microorganisms. And so we have a loss there of, when we lose soil structure, we lose the water holding capacity of the soil. We have runoff, and we have floods and erosion. So then a lot of times what the answer supposedly is to bring in genetically engineered plants that then can overcome these pests and diseases. But then we end up with more problems like super weeds and new diseases, and also additional chemicals are added, and we end up with lowered food nutrient density as well as lifeless fields. And these are chemically burned lifeless fields. So mahalo for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Volks. Why don't we go to Waimea?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to introduce Eric Swalkowski in favor of Resolution 452-14, and he represents himself.
Aloha. My name is Eric Swalkowski. Thank you, Margaret, for having this opportunity for us. I am a organic farmer on this island. I've been organic farming, wolfing, work trading, doing different kinds of things for close to 4 years now. I think we have a really big opportunity on our hands that not many people have mentioned yet, and that is that we have an opportunity to be a model for the rest of the country of what we could possibly do in an isolated situation that we are in this island with all of this waste. There are definitely other opportunities that could be looked into than just one solution that might not work. I believe that with this we could be using composting and building our soils and using this, using all of our green waste in order to do that when we're going to be burning it. And I think another thing that kind of hasn't really been brought up yet, or at least that I haven't heard, is the concept of a certain amount of weight that has to be obtained in the incinerator for it to be productive and for it to actually be a purposeful thing for us to have. And that just doesn't make much sense to me because we're putting too much in there, and we're perpetuating and we're encouraging people to dump waste when we can actually be encouraging them to be composting and redoing them reusably, using renewable resources and all those things. So in that aspect, that just doesn't make sense to me. As a farmer, I know different ways of making compost and making different things all on my farm. I can make fertilizer and everything I need with everything that is given to me by the land. So if I'm to dump that and I am to lose that and then have to pay taxes if I don't make a certain amount as the county, that just doesn't make any sense to me. If I could make my soil better without buying any fertilizer from another country or the mainland, then I think that should be the best thing to be doing. And then that comes down to education, because we need to educate all people from children to adults on proper composting methods and zero waste, and figuring out what needs to be separated and what can stay, and pretty much just education is the biggest thing. And I believe that's my thing. I just want to say we should, as an island and as a community, we should not pass up on an opportunity to really be an example for the rest of the country on how to really positively control and manage our waste. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everybody else who has given their testimony.
Thank you. Next testifier.
Next testifier is Amelia Horn. She represents herself, and she is in support of Resolution 452-.
Aloha. My name is Amelia Horn, and I am in support of Resolution 452. For several reasons, I believe that the privatization of waste management is unnecessary in such a fertile land, and I believe that if we change to one organization to manage our waste, we will be losing the opportunity to educate people on their possibility to manage their own waste. I also believe that the taxation that will be caused because of waste volume is unnecessary, and I think that the concept of zero waste can be increased if we use our waste for things such as compost, reusing materials to create other things out of them, like banners into bags and things like that, will create jobs for people instead of a single organization running things. And I also believe that it will help farmers to not have to worry about something else, and households as well to be able to teach their children to take care of our Mother Earth and Pele and everything, because it makes sense that we continue on our path of compost in such a fertile land and not have to tax people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to go now and talk to the council. It's now 25 after 12. If I would like to just keep going and have everyone feel free having some coconut munchies or whatever we've got going here, or take a break. But I don't, I know that the public waited a long time and we're late, so I don't want to miss out on any testimony. But if someone needs to take a somewhat slightly longer break, I just want to hear any comments from you all.
Just a question. So if we keep pushing through, we'll just push through all the way into discussion and everything else, correct? If we're going to stay, I think we should just stay. If we're going to break for lunch at some point, I would assume we should do it sooner than later. I understand the public testimony, and we should get that out of the way. But I also think if we're going to do that, let's just push all the way through.
Yeah, I'd like to get through the public testimony.
How many testifiers left?
I don't know. How many? Let's figure out. Just Hilo, what is your count? How many testifiers are left there?
We have 9 more testifiers in Hilo.
Okay, and Kohala?
Chair, we have 3 more testifiers.
Okay, and Ko, did you say you had any more? Waimea?
No, Madam Chair, we're done. Thank you.
Okay, and Pahoa?
Madam Chair, we have 2 more testifiers.
Okay, so I think we're pretty good here. So I'd like to, let's go ahead with Hilo next. Next two testifiers in Hilo.
Our and next then we'll testifier is James Weatherford. Okay. I think you're in.
Okay. Good noon, good afternoon to the council, and thank you for your service today as always. I do speak in support of Resolution 452. I thoroughly agree with the assessment there that the existing RFP does favor waste to energy and on a large scale, and it does put alternatives at a disadvantage. I find that unsatisfactory. Just to review, waste energy combustion as a technology is in decline and use in this country. We don't want to invest in something that everybody else has already gotten out of. It's a dead technology. We don't want to go there. More to the point, the population we have here has been eluded by other people is relatively small. Generating the volume to support a large waste energy facility would be risky at best and financially disastrous, more likely. Such a facility requires up to a 30-year commitment with no flexibility for changing markets, changing technology, changing regulations, and packaging and disposal. And all of those things, market, technology, and regulations, are rapidly changing. Once again, we get locked into a dead-end situation. What we need to do is divert resources, not just waste, but resources from the landfill and divert them from the incinerator. As I've indicated with you before, I had the opportunity to visit Zero Waste in action in New Zealand, and it works. With no incineration, diminished use of landfill, less waste, and being less wasteful. Moreover, that approach creates more jobs and more local business control. I think this is a critical point that we're dealing with, is not bringing in some multinational corporation that has no interest in the welfare of our community, but rather working with the local businesses that are already involved in this resource stream. And again, as has been emphasized, it's about resources. So in closing, I will just ask you to please support this resolution and let us move forward with a way of dealing with this problem that's been on our back for so long, and dealing with it in a way that we can be proud of. Thank you. Aloha.
Next testifier is Bob Jacobson.
Aloha, Council Chair, Committee Chair Wiley, and members of the Hawaii County Council. I'm Councilmember Bob Jacobson. I served Puna Kau in South Kona from 2002 to 2008, and I chaired the Environmental Management Committee of the Hawaii County Council for 4 years. Today, I'm here to support Councilmember Wiley's Resolution 45214 to issue a new solid waste RFP that would ensure that we adhere to our policy of zero waste and provide good, stable jobs for residents. Now, our mayor could have implemented any number of solutions during the last 6 years, but chose to embrace old polluting technologies in his RFP that will reward his supporters and drain money and resources from our residents. Instead of doing the right thing, he put forth this perverted RFP that essentially excluded modern, tried and true methods of handling our solid waste. The Hawaii County Council is the policy-making body of the county. A number of years ago, you embraced zero waste. You were able to lead the whole country in writing and passing a Keep Organics Out of Landfill resolution that really pioneered. It was the first one in the United States. And I applaud you for that. If you remember voting for that, some of you, please remember that you are, in fact, the policy-making body of this county, not the mayor. The mayor doesn't have anything to do with that, according to the charter. So you should tell the mayor to follow the zero waste policy that you yourselves have established, instead of telling the county council what policy they must follow. The Director of Environmental Director says that zero waste is impossible. I would encourage you not to believe her. Really, don't be afraid to do the right thing. This is going to be a big part of the upcoming election campaign. Voters need to see that you support zero waste with the long-term jobs that it provides. They need to see that you oppose the expensive, old-style, polluting, incinerated technologies that the current RFP will deliver. Don't buy the arguments of those old snake oil salesmen that have been coming here for the last 40 years. I'm tired of them. All of us, I think all of us listening, and those of us who are listening today, do want clean air, clean water, and clean food. Handling our solid waste sensibly will help provide those things for us. Pushing through the mayor's flawed RFP will deny us the options of clean air, clean water, clean locally produced foods, and the good jobs that we need for local residents. Any voters listening should tell their council member today that they want clean air, clean water, clean food, and good jobs that zero waste will help provide. I should disclose to you that I am in fact a tea farmer that uses mulch for my organically certified farm.
Sorry, Mr. Jacobson, time's up.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
I pay for the mulch. I need it. I use it, and it produces a great white tea. Thank you so much for your time today, and thank you so much, Margaret. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Okay, Kohala, your next two testifiers.
Yes, Chair, we actually only have two left. We lost one. Our next testifier is Valerie Barnes, representing herself, speaking in support of 452-14.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and council members. My name is Valerie Barnes. I'm a resident of North Kohala. I'm also on the steering committee for Sustainable Kohala, but I'm here representing myself and my family. Want to thank and endorse the previous testifiers. There isn't one point that was made that I don't strongly agree with. and consequently I have little to add. I just want to make the point that we probably have the most expensive as well as precious waste on Earth, and I think it's important that we step back in this RFP process and consider the fact that what has been identified as burnable for energy reasons is actually resources. It's our resources that we need to reuse to feed the soil, feed ourselves, and reuse to any extent that we can. So I'm definitely in favor of withdrawing the RFP, revising it, and moving ahead in a more modern fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. Your next testifier.
Our last testifier today is Richard Bowers, speaking in support of 452-14.
Hi, my name is Richard Bowers, and I'm a Kohala resident and a retired electrical engineer, but I currently work at the Hobby Transfer Station as a security guard, part-time security guard. At any rate, conventional wisdom seems to be that if we put all the green waste with the rest of the rubbish and haul it and put it in the landfill, that's the least expensive option. I'd like to challenge that conventional wisdom and say that there's a great expense to that process. The expense of operating the machinery to compact it, to truck it, the use of the landfill, whereas local processing of that, which was pointed out previously, a valuable resource, the potential for having mulch, usable mulch in a agricultural area is tremendous. We generate a lot of green waste in Kohala. I'm not sure about the other districts, but Kohala is probably more than half of the rubbish in the trailer is green waste. So to me, that's a huge waste, whereas it could be processed and distributed, and I know that there would be a lot of takers for it in Kohala. You could even sell it and possibly recoup some of the expense and save a lot of money. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pahoa.
Mr. Robert Petrucci here, speaking on Resolution 452.
Aloha, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. Thank you, Margaret, for the resolution. I'll be supporting Resolution 452. And it was very heartening to see all the different districts weighing in, Kohala, Ka'u, Waimea, Hilo. And I haven't heard anybody that doesn't support this resolution. So I hope that the council members that represent us will pay attention to that. There were actually more people here that wanted to testify, but someone had to leave, and I stayed. Part of the problem here for me is all this fast tracking. You know, the mayor is like, we have to hurry up. We have to do this before I get out of office. And that kind of development and project planning always creates problems. You know, those environmental protections and those processes are put there for a reason. Because as you see with the super ferry, look what happened. Yeah, they rushed it forward, and do we have a super ferry? No, because you can't get through an EIS. And the lawsuits that will come with it. I think you guys, you might want to consider that with all this fast tracking. Look at geothermal. They had to have geothermal, HGPA, PGV. What a nightmare and legal mess it's been because of fast tracking, because you did not listen to the community, you did not do your homework. So I'm an organic farmer. I own Pohiki Road Ranch. It's a 10-acre organic farm, and I use the mulch. And I'm afraid that if you do this, I'm not going to have that mulch. I've bought 20 loads of about 600 yards this year so far, and I use it as a weed killer. I make my own compost from my sawmill and my other businesses, so I make compost, but I use the mulch like I would use Roundup or glyphosate. I put it on 6 or 8 inches thick around my trees, and it kills the weeds, and then it breaks down into compost. As an organic farmer, it's one of the few things the county does to help me. I don't get farm loans. Haven't got any money for anything from the county yet. My organic farm is booming, and I love it. Let's see. And we're building soil. My farm is an old papaya field, and it was basically all rock with nothing alive when I got there and started farming. And you should see it now. It's just a booming. You can't even believe how alive it is now, and a lot of that has to do with the mulch. So there's a lot of resources there. Energy policy in Hawaii should not be driven by corporate interests, and that's what this is. The best interest for the people of Hawaii is affordable energy, and that's putting energy on your own home. And like the rest of us out here in Puna, we don't pay HELCO. We're not hooked up to the grid. We don't need it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next testifier is Dr. Roy Lozano, speaking in support of Resolution 452.
Aloha, Council. Thank you for hearing us. And my name is Dr. Roy Lozano. I am the County Council candidate for District 4. I didn't prepare a lot of notes for today. I have done some research, and what I find interesting is that in 2009, the county, as taxpayers, hired Anthony and Associates, an organization to develop a Hilo plan here in Hawaii. And, they certainly laid out a plan that cost us a lot of money to have developed. And it would have cost, according to their estimates, $25 million and 5 years to implement, meaning if we'd started back then, we'd be way into that right now. Now, compared to the waste to energy plan, which was estimated at $125 million, and by now it'd be about $150 million, you can see the difference. And the fact is when we go to zero waste, we automatically create jobs. As a matter of fact, in the first page of the recommendations, they mention how part of the zero waste plan, it's a big organization. It's a big idea. It's not a small idea. So what they're saying is it incorporates things like organic farming. What they say is if we, part of the zero plan, put in 0.4% of our 2.5 million acres in Hawaii into organic farming, which is equivalent of 10,000 acres, then we immediately are food sustainable. But that also means we are not bringing the packaged foods into our island, and that's one big part of the solid waste issue. So, when I think back to hundreds or maybe even thousands of years that our post-Hawaiian culture lived here completely sustainable, and what we've done in 236 years to destroy this beautiful piece of paradise, it brings sadness to me. I think it is your job as a council to really, truly represent the people in the Aina in the future and to push forward this resolution. I'm totally for this resolution. I'd like to see more thoughtful programs put in, whether it's the zero waste plan that Anthony and Associates have proposed, or other organizations who have ideas of coming here and doing that on their own. I totally support that. It's funny, every time I think about this, I think about a quote from the Forrest Gump movie, and it's not the one that says life is like a bowl with lots of chocolate. It's the other one. So, with that said, I have 30 seconds remaining. Do what's right for the honor of the Ohana. Mahalo.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this is Hilo. Shall I?
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we have Jeremy Estrada, and to be followed by Christopher Long.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Estrada. I'm the owner of Eastside Rubbish and Recycling and Off-Grid Solar Specialist. I'm here in support of the resolution. One reason for...
I want to make sure we hear you, so be sure to speak right into the microphone loud.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So one reason for going with waste to energy, I heard cited was the public. Sorry, was the public's opposition to trucking our trash from Hilo to the Kona landfill. The public opposes that because of pollution and increased cost. I fail to see how a waste-to-energy plant would address either of those concerns. And as testified earlier, to make a waste-to-energy plant worth it, you really would need to truck all of the trash island-wide to that facility. Waste energy is a bad long-term energy policy for the Big Island. Burning trash to make energy goes against our Big Island values and sends the wrong message to our keiki. It does not provide any real reduction in energy costs either. Trash is not a renewable energy source. Burning trash is no better than burning oil, and it releases dangerous chemicals into our atmosphere, like dioxin. There are many other obvious renewable energy solutions out there, and we should pursue them. Now, another concern I have, being the owner of a garbage collection company, is the potential increase in tipping fees and possible decrease in the residential credit haulers like me get for servicing households. This credit enables us to keep prices low for countless low-income families and senior citizens. A reduction in the credit would mean that we'd have to pass that cost directly on to our customers. Many customers would cancel and either go back to using county facilities or illegally dumping. Our service reduces cost for the county by bypassing the county transfer stations. They also reduce roadside litter and illegal dumping. So, solutions out there, I'd say, is promote recycling and composting. Make recycling worth something. As seen with the High Five program, if there's money to be had, people will do it. If tires were worth $1, not only would nobody dump them in the bushes, but people would be going out into the bushes to find them. And that's exactly what's going on, with junk cars now. So another thing is, I think the county really needs to provide more options for people so they can recycle prohibited items such as oil, e-waste, and tires.
I'm sorry, your time's up.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you very much, and I really do appreciate the resolution.
Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead.
Next testifier.
Hi, my name is Chris. Is this thing on?
It's on.
Can you hear me? All right. Hi, my name is Christopher Long. I'm with Pacific Biodiesel Technologies, and I'd like to read a letter that was written by our Vice President, Kelly King. Dear Council members, Pacific Biodiesel Technologies supports the resolution urging the withdrawal of a request for proposal number 3044. In the recent deferral of House Bill 2191, the state of Hawaii has indicated its hesitation to support projects of this nature. As we have seen on Maui, the outsourcing of landfill management to a single entity which may in all likeliness be a mainland-based or even foreign corporation, can have a detrimental effect on local business. In fact, the Maui Sierra Club is currently organizing a public panel discussion to give local recycling businesses a chance to present the many benefits our operations have brought to Maui County and to voice our concerns about the Maui Landfill Management Agreement signed in the spring of this year. The state of Hawaii can and should be at the forefront of the recycling and composting industries that are so important to island communities and the revitalization of local agriculture. Both industries offer much opportunity for the local business to advance the triple bottom line of environmental, economic, and social benefits. By encouraging separate proposals for individual waste streams, a new RFP could create a model for landfill management that would reduce its environmental footprint, support local jobs, retain revenue in the county, and even inspire local development of new technologies. Pacific Biodiesel believes there is a better solution for landfill management than the one outlined in the current RFP and signed into agreement by Maui County, and we have been working hard since 1996 to do our part in diverting waste oil throughout the state. Our operations not only help with landfill diversion, but have also created a new model of waste collection that is saving restaurants millions of dollars every year in fees previously paid for waste oil disposal. Speaking from experience, we know it is possible for local companies to succeed in the recycling business, and we believe they deserve a chance. Please pass this resolution. Sincerely, Kelly King. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And bring up the next two in Hilo, and let me just check, are all of the other sites finished? Okay, hearing none, I'm just going to keep going with Hilo unless I'm told otherwise. Next two in Hilo.
Okay. Go ahead.
Aloha, County Council. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you, Councilwoman Willie, for introducing this resolution. It's great. We're at a pivotal moment in deciding how the island is going to be handling the rubbish for the next 20 to 30 years. It's for that reason that I strongly encourage you to support this resolution and allow other options to handling our waste other than incineration. If we go forward with incineration, the county is locked in a technology that might be outdated in a number of years. If we want to get out of it and do something else, well, too bad. If we go with incineration, we'll be turning our valuable resources into smoke. Residents will be discouraged from recycling. Farmers and gardeners will potentially lose access to the valuable dump mulch compost. And all of this to patronize a large mainland company who has a stranglehold on our island for the next 20 to 30 years. It's a step in the wrong direction. If we do not produce enough waste, we could be fined by this incineration company, fined for not generating enough rubbish. Again, it's a step in the wrong direction. You will still have to handle the toxic ash left over from the incinerator, which might be 1/3 of the original waste amount. Where is that going to go? To another landfill? We're going to haul the toxic ash to Kona? There hasn't been a waste-to-energy facility built in the U.S. in over 20 years, and there hasn't been a waste-to-energy facility the size of the one proposed in Hilo in over 25 years. The trend in the U.S. has demonstrated that more rubbish is being recycled and less is being incinerated. Do we really want to buy into a declining industry? I would like to remind the Council of a study commissioned by a previous Council, produced by the Kohala Center with researchers from Yale University, entitled Waste Management on the Big Island, Mapping a Vision for an Economically and Ecologically Sustainable Hawaii. I believe that the price for that was around $20,000 that the County Council paid. The report assessed all the different waste management options and came to the conclusion that recycling was the way to go and incineration is not the way to go. And I'd just like to bring up a few points from that study. From the study, page 37, there are good reasons to believe that the procurement of an incinerator may interfere with current and proposed diversion systems. Again, page 37, the waste stream currently going to disposal at South Hilo landfill is far smaller than those generally considered large enough to make incineration economically viable. Again, page 37, no facility has been built in the U.S. of comparable size in the last 20 plus years, leaving one with doubts of the potential profitability of such facility. The study also says maximizing recycling rates has numerous benefits, including energy saving, reducing dependence on imported materials, reducing the need to extract natural resources, and saving of taxpayer dollars.
I'm sorry, your time is...
Okay, I'll wrap up. I'd like to humbly request that the Council support this resolution. Please let's put the incinerator behind us and find something that would really work. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Corey Harden for Sierra Club Mokuloa Group. Thank you for taking up this resolution. I'm in support of Resolution 452. We urge the mayor to withdraw the waste to energy RFP 3044 and to rewrite it so it's open to proposals that maximize the output of compostables. Instead of committing taxpayer dollars to one big silver bullet, that ties us to off-island interests for decades, we should first try multiple small-scale local operations that allow us to change course as needed. Waste to energy should give us pause. It could be the largest public works project in county history. It could cost over $100 million, lock us into producing 95,000 tons of waste a year for 30 years, and could cause pollution. Mayor Canoy's January presentation to the council and the RFP's narrative both featured maximum compostables, but the RFP's specific criteria were different, favoring huge waste-to-energy proposals. This shut out at least 2 entities that would have maximized compostables. It also shut out zero waste and resource recovery approaches that would support our local economy and shut out use of simpler technologies and existing infrastructure. There's a big push to build a plant before Canoy leaves office in 2016. But in the rush, we may miss potential problems and miss viable alternatives. Richard Anthony, the Zero Waste guy, a potential bidder, noted that the tight deadline favored companies that had advance notice of the process. The county at first refused to reveal the number of bidders. There were only 8 compared to 20 responses on Maui when they did a comparable project last year. Recycling and reuse could handle about 70% of our waste, and perhaps the rest, if we really want to burn stuff, could be shipped to H-Power on Oahu. James Weatherford has suggested some excellent things, comparisons. Zero waste, resource management, and small-scale local operations empower communities instead of encumbering them with contract obligations. Deal with local people, not off-island people. Invest in local communities, not off-island interests. Means low financial and environmental risk, not high, and means more flexibility, not less. And maybe if we involve local communities in waste solutions, maybe illegal dumping will go down. Please support Resolution 452. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, Hilo?
Aloha Council, my name is Elizabeth Weatherford. I'd like to ask for your support for 452. Margaret Willie's request to the mayor to withdraw the current RFP for waste reduction. It seems to me that no form of burning is appropriate for the island of Hawaii, especially because of our need for organic materials for organic agriculture, for island agriculture. There are many, many reasons to reframe the discussion about waste on Hawaii Island, and these are just a few. Hawaii Island does not have the volume of discards to justify an expensive high-technology investment, possibly for 30 years.
Compost piles, which he builds with his tractor and are the length of this room. These compost piles turn into a fabulous resource which we use to enrich our soil on our farm. RFPs are a powerful tool that help to shape the future of the island and therefore should be consistent with the intent and letter of the law. Hawaii has spent a lot of time in energy making plans like the Hawaii 2050 and the sustainability plan and the zero waste policy and an incinerator that would burn all the compostable materials is not in line with these sustainability goals. I look forward to seeing a creative, forward-thinking proposals for dealing with trash that will treat each facet of what goes into the landfill as a valuable resource. We can turn trash and compostables into methane and biogas, which yield electricity and high-quality compost. Plastics can be burned into high-grade fuel oil, and we can make recycling mandatory. We can tax styrofoam, tax carbon emissions, and be proactive with shaping our future and disposing of and recycling our trash. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have 2 more testifiers left there in Hilo.
Can I start?
Yeah.
My name is Jonathan Wong. I'm a current student at UH Hilo. I'm an environmental science major. I served as vice president last year for USA. I'm on the sustainability committee for UH Hilo as well as sustainability committee for the UH system. I view this waste to energy idea as rather insidious in nature because it not only it encourages more waste because we have to fulfill the quota of 95,000 tons a year. And on top of that, if we don't fulfill that, then the taxpayers end up paying fines. And I think that's just wrong in general. It's basically a step in the wrong direction. Instead of encouraging reuse and recycling and reduction of waste, we're actually doing the opposite. And it's really about trying to. It's really.
Let alone address our problems for the next 30 years in place that we are stuck with. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to close out statements from the public, and I will turn the chairmanship over to Ms. Poindexter, as I am the sponsor of this resolution. Thank you very much.
Let the record show that I have assumed the chair position on this. We are. Okay. So we've completed the statements from the public on the agenda items, and now we're going to move into Resolution 452-14. Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 452-14 urges the administration to withdraw request for proposal number 3044 and issue a new request for proposal to provide for the eligibility of those entities or a combination of entities which seek to maximize the output of combustibles. Allow for teams of experts whose strategies would maximize environmental benefits and promote community-based green jobs. Reference Communication 918, introduced by Ms. Willie.
Ms. Willie?
Yes, and motion to approve and file all related communications.
Motion to approve Resolution 452-14?
Yes.
Okay. So a motion has been moved by Councilmember Willie and is seconded by Councilmember Ford. Discussion, Councilmember Willie?
Yes, and just before I do, I just wanted to, there were some requests that we take at break, so, okay. Okay, so, yes, let me say first that I think this is probably the most important decision that we make as a council is really our long-term handling of our solid waste stream, or in other words, for solid waste is sort of our discarded valuable resources. And I appreciate Mayor Kanoy's desire to move forward on this and address it. But at the same time, I think that translating his broad, open statements narrative really did not translate down into the details of the request for proposals, the RFP. And yeah, I'm always trying to look a little bit, are we being farsighted? And I look, okay, this is going to be 10, 20, probably 30-year decision, probably a multi-million-dollar decision, and where are we going? And I look, around the world, talk to people, particularly people I met in California, that are going, that's old technology, that mass burn. A lot of the programs that I looked at in California, not just San Francisco, but also rural areas, are 70%, whether it's composting, recycling, and moving towards some of the supposedly close to 85%, where we're really promoting reuse, diverting material to other purposes, recycling and compostables. I am the chair of the Ag, Water, Energy, Sustainability Committee, and really focused a lot on agriculture. And as I see the nutrients coming out of our soil, and now going in, much of it is going into a landfill, and now it's going to be going, do we divert that and instead have the end product going into burning it up? Maybe 1/3 of that ends up ash, a lot of air pollution and other costs that aren't necessarily calculated into that cost in terms of the effect on the environment. So just part of what I'm trying to do is I feel that this issue really deserves a better conversation. I did ask our Director of Environmental Management to be here or to send a delegate, and she advised that she's not available today. I would be happy to hold this off and do it continue when she is available. But I want to open up my comments and allow for those others. My fear is that we're really moving towards a feed the beast mentality, and I've explored other municipalities that have sort of closer to our size that have now gone bankrupt trying to fulfill the guaranteed payments. I also see the expenditure of high capital versus more green jobs, more local, well-paying jobs. I'm concerned about the inflexibility of this choice. I'm concerned, I want to take 1 minute just looking at compost and high-grade compost. We would be cutting down all of that importing of expensive fertilizer. It's also high-grade compost counters global warming because it's so much full of oxygen, it pulls the carbon out of the air. So I go around to the school garden programs. I went to one last weekend. All the kids are so excited. How do we take this and our food waste? We throw away like over 45% of food goes into the trash. 95% of that's ending up in the landfills at this point, and really make this something exciting that we're going forward. Again, I want to say this did come up. We're moving in a direction, and I'm just afraid, and I really feel that we need to have a more deliberate decision about something that's so costly and so important to this island. So I yield in terms of what others have to say and move forward.
Thank you.
Let me say I am happy to recess until the director is available, if that's the inclination of the other council members.
Okay, is that what? Okay. Councilmember Ford?
Thank you. I agree with everything every testifier said, and I agree with everything that Ms. Woolley said, and I will be supporting this resolution. Putting in a waste-to-energy plant is like trying to raise a fire-breathing dragon that grows larger and larger and demands more and more food. In this case, combustibles that could be used for other things. And the only reason to do that is so that they can sell more energy to some other entity. That's what this is about. We don't know yet what the cost is going to be if we don't make our production of deliveries of a certain amount of combustibles, not total garbage, per day. We've got to deliver at least 260 tons per day to this plant just to get to the 95,000. Now, the mayor has told us in a previous meeting, if my memory is correct, that he's only going to entertain bids from people who build the plant at no cost to the county taxpayers or the county, the corporate body. And that's nice, and it sounds really good, because the last one was about $125 million, and we would have failed from day one onward. However, the problem is we've got to give them land expensive county land that could be used for composting and all these other things that we want to see. Tire crumbles that we could use in our playgrounds to protect the children and different things like that. My regret is that I probably won't be on the council to vote against this waste-to-energy plant when that contract comes before the council. However, I do have a suggestion to the public. And that suggestion is that you create a contract to vote against a waste-to-energy plant and put every candidate on the ground in front of you and say, sign it or you're not getting any votes. Now, you will have some candidates who will lie, but you'll also have candidates that truly believe in zero waste, and they'll sign it. It happened my first term. So I would like to say that we should pass this resolution, ask the mayor to please start over again and actually do a zero waste facility or facilities with multiple ways of handling the different kinds of waste. Dr. Ching mentioned some of these. Her testimony was quite good, and I think we need to go in that direction. And if the answer is no, we're going to do the process that's in place, then you need to start thinking about getting a mayor on the next election for mayor who is supportive of zero waste and stop screwing around. This is the second time that I have been confronted with a waste-to-energy plant. It is old technology. It does produce toxins, and we need to stop screwing around with this. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilmember Yoshimoto.
Okay. Ms. Willie, you just suggested recessing this meeting, I would assume, to the next committee meeting. I think that's a good idea, just for what it's worth, so we can hear from Ms. Vidal. You said you invited her, but she wasn't available today? Yeah.
That they were busy doing some site visits and couldn't be here today.
Okay, so I think that's a good suggestion because, to be fair, we need to hear what their reaction is. So I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, so I see no other hands. I'm just going to decide whether we're going to recess, but before we do, I'm going to make a comment.
Madam Chair, can I make a point of order? Are we talking about recessing or postponing?
Right, recessing.
To recess it?
Yeah, he brought up the subject of recess. Okay, so I just want to say that just on one comment that gave me chills up my spine, because when we say, and this is my thing to the public, that we can do things in a Pono way. I think going up to a politician and saying, sign this or we won't vote for you, gives a very negative impact on politics. It's almost like blackmail. I don't like that feeling. It gave me chills up my spine. So I just want to say that publicly, that that's not a Pono thing. I think the Pono thing to do is have your community meetings, and I would encourage the community organizations to definitely call upon people who are running for office and have a decent dialogue and come with a complete understanding of each other. I think that is the way we need to do business in politics. I think that is the best way for our community to work with each other. So with this, I'm going to put this meeting into recess till our next July 1st, our next committee meeting. So this meeting now is in recess till July 1st.